Let's keep this party bus going. I paused to listen back to last episode, join the two parts together, and reflect on my absent-mindedness. Where there was a part where I wasn't even showing the game rules, even though I read the one event out. Cleo has also been, titled to Cleo Ravenor instead of Emperor Cleo. So yeah, Baron died blown from an airlock, details pending, but likely preventable and intergalactically stupid. I don't think anyone can be framed for this one. This is entirely his own death. It's his own fucking fault. Right, he wasn't the one who blew up the airlock. Those were the enemies he was fighting. But he could have not been there, you know? He didn't have to be in that position. But if not him, then who? Whatever. Anyway, the Saint. The Saint has a spouse, for emperors are demanded to be with spouses. Those are the rules. Tell us about Blake's spouse. Emperor Blake. 4 and 2. Offspring of a noble house barely remembered. We've certainly seen that before, but I don't think I'm going to have any difficulty in repeating spouse prompts. Barely remembered. Okay. Offspring of a noble house, barely remembered. Spouse. Offspring of a noble house, barely remembered. We shall name... Celia Tyros. Offspring of a noble house, barely remembered. Why did they marry? What did House Tyros bring? What was it that Blake gained? I'll say they married and infatuation turned into marriage, possibly even love? Maybe even love. They're both young. They saw each other at some fucking gala or ball or event or teenage party. Because Blake isn't that old. Maybe Celia is older than Blake. And Blake, they were out, and maybe, I don't even know where my thoughts are going here. We're just going to say that's because I'm absent-minded and not because of any other thoughts I'm giving to, what sort of power dynamics might be taking place between these two at all. Or not even, power dynamics, just... Grimith, put down the fucking shovel, please. Ascended to the throne at a young age. I believe we've had someone else who did that. Or that I thought I wrote. Just out of his teens. At 19. There we go. I didn't end up writing anything after that for Baron. You know what? Baron doesn't get anything written there. I think Baron is the first one who doesn't have like any extra text written up there. Cleo didn't have much written up there either, but that's pretty like communicative. Baron, just you was so reckless he didn't give a fuck. Okay. Celia. Or Celia if you feel like stabbing yourself in the eye. Well, now that I have firmly put the shovel down. Very good, Grimith. An infatuation turned into marriage, maybe even love. Let's see what these two possible lovebirds managed for heirs. That's 7. All right, we're having 1. 7 minus 3. 4. 4 heirs. Okay. When we come back to this section served it so well, let's copy it and run it back. Whoop. What will their names be? We'll go with a. You know what we need. You know what we've really been missing. We've been missing a Karen. We're not making Karen the heir. We're not having an Emperor Karen that easily. It could still happen. It could even happen next time, but we're putting 1 degree of separation. Karen is not the favoritist. Who is the... I said this name last time. Teraptus. Oh. Let darkness reign, and in that darkness let evil grow. Fucking Dragon Strike. Oh. My brother and I both own copies of that fucking board game. I have them both with me right now, actually, which means I have 2 copies of that VHS. I digress. It's a separate story. I'm actually not feeling that brave tonight. Other kid names. We're gonna go with a... We're gonna go with Enoch. And we're gonna go with... I guess my brain is in this mindset. Cain. Yeah. Given our ongoing Vampire the Masquerade Redemption series as of this session. And all the other sessions before it, but it just came to mind here right now. Anyway, Teraptus. That's a strong name. Of course, Teraptus is the favorite child, yes. Saint Blake. Saintly. Why is Blake known as the saint for all of time? We're gonna find out. Okay. We need to determine how many events we have. It's gonna be 1, and then I'm gonna be like, how the fuck do we get sainted after just 1 event? It's gonna be 6, and I'm still gonna be stumped after the 6th event. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I guess Teraptus is coming a little quicker than thought. Okay. Okay, St. Blake. I'm gonna need a prompt to really help me through this one. How we doing this? The 1 major event. Possibly the death could establish sainthood as well. Let's one piece at a time here, yep. 3 and 2. 2 neighboring powers go to war. Should we take sides or remain neutral? How does this benefit us? Okay. This is new. Which means I am sticking with it. We know 1 neighboring power is the Praxis Federation. We have the Alcib Coalition that are allies in a sense, but if they haven't been annexed right now, they will be soon-ish. And to the south, we have Did I establish anyone down there? Because the West was the Alcib Coalition. North was Praxis Foundation. No, I left the South alone, because, like, the East and, like, the South were consumed by the Orion Collective. And, like, any sort of, like, southwestern section was, I guess, like a no man's land? I'm going to pause and plug in this prompt, and while I'm doing that, I'm also going to flip back through the prior emperors to see if I wrote anything down pertaining to this. 2 neighboring powers go to war. Should we take sides, remain neutral? How does this benefit us? Okay, so this is Cybrixia. Yeah? We've consumed the Orion Collective that's been, like, in our east and, like, our south. We know that the Alcib Coalition is over here, and we know the Praxis Federation is up here. I'm thinking that we have a new neighbor now, so we're going to bring someone else onto the board. And as we're trying to settle in, as, you know, Blake's, like, this is his one major event. There. Hers. I intended there. Could be anything. Could change. That's how that works. Could be, like, this is the Emperor's one major event here. And they are meant to be anointed a saint. Anyway, yes, so this is a new thing. And I'm thinking to tie in with elements that have, that were, like, brought to light with Cleo. The defending party in this should absolutely be the Praxis Federation. We have a defensive alliance with the Praxis Federation. So if a third party assails either us or the Praxis, we are meant to, honor-bound to aid each other in that. So I think it best for this to be a defensive war to call in for that. And I believe the adversary, the undiscovered, or, like, we've known about but hasn't been important enough for the official historian to, like, write about, the third party should be a machine intelligence. Harkening back to sharp rulings that have been placed against big tech and the notion of placing the military under the control of an artificial intelligence. I don't think Cybrixians have been xenophiles or xenophobes. I don't think that's where the ethics of society have, like, are currently built. Though obviously there has been a love for, like, lost lore, for ancient philosophy that could very well just be, like, humanity's past and not have anything to do with life that is not our own. Intelligent life that is not our own. But this saint bit here comes as a, like, religious moniker for carrying the holy war against machines. Yes, not just, like, machines, but it's like, I guess since, you know, we're thinking about Dune, because Dune is an inspiration for Reign of the Star Kings, the Butlerian Jihad. So Omnius and Erasmus are out there, and we gotta bring the fight to them. And though, like, we're in the process of recovery and redevelopment and, you know, getting all of our power back together, not just in our core sector, but Persephone Star Cluster, all those systems we've taken from the Orion Collective. But this is a war which must be fought for this. It's a defensive alliance that Cleo, the diplomat, made. Beloved, long-lived, long-reigned Cleo. And it pits us against a machine intelligence, which has no business existing. There we go. The Saint. That's Blake Ravenor. They will guide us to salvation from the machine spirit. Okay. All right. Now, how the fuck do I write that down? So. The head ambassador. Ambassador Elite. I like head ambassador. From the Praxis Federation, stationed upon Cybrixia's homeworld, informed the Emperor that the Aryan Directive an isolationist machine empire to the right, to the east. I think I'm just gonna stick to using cardinal directions. Eastward of, I could use like, like if we're like, maybe it's like closer to the galactic core, just say like coreward. But for now, my earthbound brain is is gonna continue to project 3D space on a 2D plane. Northeast of Cybrixia's recently conquered recent conquests, and east east of the Praxis has declared war upon the Federation. Upon the PF? Over perceived... Over territorial disputes. This action, Ambassador reminded, brought news, brought dire news. How do I want to use present tense? Do I want to use past? Let's copy this text down here. Let's try this again, shall we? I mean, it's only the fucking one event. I have time. How about... Do I begin with, like, introducing the Aryan Directive? The Aryan Directive. Oh. An isolationist machine empire east of the Praxis Federation. It's just, I don't like this first sentence I've written. There's a lot of, like, phrases that could be excised or reworked. Cybrixians throughout the Empire rise again once more in war. This time to defend their northern federation from the greedy malevolence of machines. The PS head ambassador has issued her plea on behalf of the Aryan Directive. An isolationist machine empire east of the PF has launched a surprise assault upon the PF's eastern border and cited territorial violations as the cause of war. The PF's head ambassador recently spoke before the imperial government and pleaded for Emperor Blake's assistance, noting, of course, the defensive alliance between Our esteemed and noble emperor wasted no time in decreeing that in denouncing the unjust actions of the Aryans. I have some hesitation referring to them as that. Directive and declaring and dedicating their full support not just to the defense of Cybrixia's ally, but in a war, but to purify local space from the ruthless maliciousness of intelligent machines. And we'll put these in quotations. Cybrixians throughout the Empire rise once more in war. This time to defend the Praxis Federation from the greedy malevolence. I think I'll leave that unquoted, because the official historian is very much a part of his own culture and is casting aspersions. Am I using that phrase correctly? Fuck it. The Aryan Directive, an isolationist machine empire, has launched a surprise assault upon the PF's eastern border and cited territorial violations as the cause of war. The PF's head ambassador recently spoke before the imperial government and pleaded for Emperor Blake's assistance, noting, of course, the current defensive alliance. The shared defensive alliance, noting, of course, the mutual defensive alliance. What kind of language do I want to use there? I mean, it's correct, but what will be the correctest? The mutual defensive alliance? I could just say, noting, of course, the defensive alliance. Our esteemed and noble emperor wasted no time in denouncing the unjust actions of the Aryan Directive and dedicating their full support, not just to the defense of Cybrixia's dear ally. Cybrixia's dear ally. But to purify local space from the ruthless maliciousness of intelligent machines. And then Blake dies. Okay. In today's absent-mindedness, I'm going to leave that event descriptor there. I don't know how much time has passed between Baron's death and this event. Could be a dozen years. Yeah, a dozen years that Cybrixia has had to recover and try and institute order upon all of the worlds they have taken, as like houses major and minor are reshuffled, powers recalibrated. There's so much of that's happening behind the scenes, and so many other things that are just minor events, not something that has to be recorded here, that we're specifically detailing as part of the official histories, at least in a major capacity. Yeah, this is the one major event, as Blake now becomes like a religious figure, the saint. You know, just because the Via Humanitas has fallen out of power, you know, been diminished so much, now that the Navigator cast is no longer needed, doesn't mean that like these sentiments, like hostilities towards tech, don't still exist. Now, they've been stronger like coreward, or stronger in the core sectors than they have like in the external regions, but this signifies like a huge shift in attitude. Perhaps just, you know, some great PR work done by anti-big tech activists. Okay. Let's see whether the Saint Death is... No, get back at my hand. I haven't even started rolling yet. Let's see whether the Saint Death is helped along, or how I can spin that sobriquet. Again, woof, just having trouble with words and phrases today for real. With death. Will this be a death that would make Blake a martyr? 3 and 2. Blood. I'm making the executive decision. and I'm going down one step. Disassembled by nanobots. It's just like I rolled 3 and 2 again. I'm not having Blake die the exact same fucking way as the previous emperor. And just disassembled by nanobots, which is one step down, which, you know, how I end up going about just these things, is just too fucking fitting. And that really helps. It just so helps. If you'd just been a 3 instead of a 2, that would have been, the dice would have spoken. Instead, I have to speak. The dice, you know, the dice aren't a perfect oracle like Taboo, the time machine of Nintendo. It's, sometimes you gotta not just massage the prompts, but massage the dice. Anyway, yeah, disassembled by nanobots. Died disassembled by nanobots. So, yeah. I don't think that's a full judgment of how the war's going. But Blake is so a fucking martyr for this war. Absolutely. Saint Blake. I'm actually gonna fucking Saint Blake. Canonized in oh wait, we have a religion back here that we have like, and they were denied like leaders of the Empire's largest religion, like they did demand a say in important decisions affecting the Empire, and they weren't given positions of power. But like these polyistic beliefs like decried like machine intelligence, which makes them like a natural like cooperative like group with the Via Humanitas, and both of them have been slighted in power. And this event right here with Blake leaning all in into like this defensive war and then being disassembled by nanobots just like leads to like an upsurge in like the power of this religion, which may have stopped being the largest due to being so unfavored, and now just rushes back to prominence. And maybe the Navigator cast is which had lost a great deal of their numbers with the through the war with the Orion Collective. Maybe they find purchase once more, and you know, those navigation machines, sure, they can be placed on the smaller craft, but anything that's important, and certainly the military craft, no, those are guided with navigators, especially in a war against the Aryan Directive. Okay. I don't have a cool like eulogy funerary descriptor to write here for Blake. But yeah, ends up dying during war, though for separate reasons. Possibly preventable, definitely not intergalactically stupid. Whew. I really like this. I'm really enjoying this story vibe here of our, like it's only been one event each, but they've been big ones, and they've really helped to tie like these other story threads that we've had like established earlier in our house lore. Okay. So that brings us to next time. Taraptus needs a sobriquet. We know that the Empire is still on a rise, but we also have a sense of what Taraptus has to look forward to during his reign after the death of the previous emperor. What will Taraptus be remembered until the end of all time as? 2 and 1. The Malignant. The Malignant. It's not a favorable name. Maybe the Saint's death isn't taken too well, yeah? We'll see. We'll see. Take care, everyone.